Good morning, patriots and citizens. I am Joseph Barber, a fellow captive of government. We are all captives of the government because we have forgotten the truth that make us free. Government truth is qualified as to the people, place, and the purpose. God's truth is universal. It is a fundamental tenet of the Christian faith. That obedience to God's laws will make us free. God makes his laws easily known by writing them on every human heart. The Congress of the United States has become the Tower of Babel of written law. As a follower of God's law, you only need to know and to learn how to avoid becoming a person in place with government. Purpose: to stay clear of government and its laws. I am Joseph Barber, and I approve this message to the people from the resistance. They poison the air we breathe, contaminated the water we drink. They've copyrighted the food we eat. We fight in their wars, die for their causes, and sacrifice our freedoms to protect them. They've liquidated our savings, destroyed our middle class, and used our tax dollars to bail out their unending greed. We are slaves to their corporations, zombies to their airwaves, servants to their decadence. They've stolen our elections, assassinated our leaders, and abolished our basic rights as human beings. They own our property, shipped away our jobs, and shredded our unions. They profited off disaster, destabilized our currencies, and raised our cost of living. They monopolized our freedom, stripped away our education, and have almost extinguished the flame of the people. Understand, we in the resistance stand for and by the people. Every politician in office today, Democrat and Republican, alike accept corporate bribes and is therefore corrupt. Their elections is perverse evidence that they grovel before corporate lords and do not serve the will of the people. We know this because on January 21st, 2010, the U.S. Supreme Court told us who runs the nation by granting corporations the freedom to donate unlimited amounts of money to political candidates. As it is already an established statistical fact that the candidate who spends the most money wins 9 out of 10 times in the races, it is undeniable that we live in an era where anyone genuinely opposed to the corporate takeover of America and unwilling to compromise will never be elected. That makes the government dangerous enterprise that's a hazard to every individual freedom, including the future generations to come. And still, the people remain silent. Understand, the true terrorists among us are our police, who are meant to serve and protect us. The police have shown they will always collide against the people with the powerful and will smash the people for the benefit of those who sign their paychecks. And those police paychecks we pay, tax dollars. All police need is to be given a $60,000 per year salary and a preferred status in a higher caste system, and they will lie, torture, and murder for the state. Since when hasn't a government existed that didn't nurture and reward these qualities in its minions or lacked the displaying authoritarian traits? Ask an Indian. The police are the essence of the state, and as such are enemies of the people. The people have the ability to protect themselves from petty criminals, but the police seek to keep people dependent on them and act as if the surrender of all the people's rights and liberties is needed and worthy exchange for security or the illusion thereof. I say people are increasingly conditioned to believe that the loss of justice and basic human rights to the onslaught of state power is a good bargain, never realizing that governments are responsible for killing 260 million people in wars and another 300 million in non-combat dermicide a year. A year, my friends. Now, let's go on and talk about some truth here. Everywhere we look, there are signs of moral decay, political corruption, and fascistic tendencies. However, activists have not been passive for decades. Since the end of democracy in America first became undeniable, we have tried every tactic to avert catastrophe. We have voted, written letters, donated money, held signs, protested in marches, clicked links, signed petitions, tweeted websites, written books, taught classes, knitted sweaters, learned how to farm, turned off the television, programmed apps, engaged in direct action, committed by petty vandalism. All this has been for naught and in vain. Popular revolution remains the only reasonable viable tactic against such a tyrannical government. And that should be the people. And you understand our founding fathers. In the 18th century, America's founding fathers were in the same situation as we are today. They also sought justification to start a rebellion against a despotic empire that claimed to be their rightful government, which it was not. They knew that what they had intended to do was illegal from the king's perspective, but they found solace in a higher law, a universal law that takes priority over, what would you call it, temporal authority. The 13 colonies made the case for insurrection in the Declaration of Independence of the United States, and thereby permanently entrenched and enshrined as an inalienable the right of the people to alter or abolish the government. The presidents of our own history grants us the right to revolt. Further, the seriousness of corporate America's threat to the world puts us under obligation to act. Now we will sweep the parasites out of power and reinstate the rule of the people. That's why we are the resistance. You are the resistance. And understand, there is no valid argument for the destruction of our planet or any form of life on it. As human beings, our greatness lies not much as in being able to remake the world. That is the myth of the atomic age. As being able to remake ourselves, be the change that you want to see in the world. Follow us at Freedom or Anarchy Campaign and Conscious of Facebook or Blogspot. Speak your mind and understand the rule of the people. God bless America. Stand free, my friends. Beat another if you can.